So apparently I wasn't live until just now. Um, anyway, if that didn't go live, if that didn't record, basically I'm here. I'm gonna randomly just edit a video. Well, I'm not randomly editing a video. I'm editing a video. I'm about 2/3 of the way done for editing a video in my course, the Blendinator, and I just thought I'd go live randomly because you can see how I edit one of my videos. I may do this more often, um, and I don't know if anybody's going to actually be watching it, but who cares? I don't care. I am ready because I have my Blender hat, and again, I said this before I went live, but I have my Blender hat that I got in December of last year, right before um, the the Blender like merchandise store closed, like the physical place before they went all online. So I'm ready. I got this. And I got my water here, and I got my electrolytes, and so but it's like 9 o'clock. Looks like I have maybe one viewer, but hi, whoever that is, welcome. But I'm just gonna edit my video. Like I said, I'm about 2/3 done. This video is compositing after you make masks for your removing the face markers. And I also got to remember I can't cut any of this out because this is live. So I tend to ramble a lot. But this is about the compositing part of it. So we've already created our masks to cover the markers on my face. And then I'm going to use those to composite them out. And I go into a lot of different detail on different methods you can use to achieve the result you want, especially when my head is moving, because my head is moving quite a bit. So it's moving from, first of all, from a profile, then to straight on, then to left to right. So you have to do a couple of different methods if you want to get it looking good. So anyway, that's not what this video is about. I'm just editing this video that I've recorded. So I'm just going to continue. I got about a third left to go, and so I don't know how long this is going to take. We'll just see. So, okay. Oh, I got to go back down to 25%. So when I edit video, basically I just use, if I select this here, I use a 25% proxy for my system, and that's good enough for me. It's a good file size, and then I can just scrub through this pretty well. I can put the key key, what is it? What are they called? The not the hotkeys, but the screencast keys. I'll put the screencast keys on. Let's see. We want them on the window. I'll put them down here or somewhere. I don't know where to put them, to be honest. I don't know where's going to be the best. Probably up, so I'm going to move them up a little bit. But then they're not going to be all that helpful just because I have my own hotkeys, which you can go to my website or you can go to Gumroad. I think they're still on Gumroad and download the hotkeys. I haven't updated them for a while, so they may or may not work. But anyway, you can see them here if you want. Okay. Oh, you know what? I probably should turn on the sound. Wait, where is that? To my desktop. Let's see if you can hear that. Click. You can drag in and out. There you go. Just so you can hear the sound as I'm scrubbing through here. I'm just gonna make sure. I'm gonna make sure that works and that's working on YouTube. I'm gonna try to start more. You can drag in another. It's just not something I'm too familiar with, and I've just been so busy. But I figured, well, hey, I can just while I'm doing this, just drag in another. Make a video, make some content. Node. Show people I'm still here because I haven't posted a lot lately. Just grab. Anyway, okay, let's see what we have so far. To make it a little bit cleaner, if you wanted to, if you press and hold down Shift and then right-click, you can drag in another node and just grab. you can drag in another another node and just grab. You can drag in and then run shift and then right click. Okay, so basically all it is I'm just like when I record, I used to do a lot of clapping, but I don't anymore because clapping you can see the spikes and you can know where to cut. But it's so tedious. Every time I'm like clap, clap, clap. I'm just clapping so many times. So I just repeat myself. So that's what you'll hear. Me repeating myself. What is YouTube saying? Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds loss. Currently, frames are not being sent often enough. Yeah, I don't know how to mess with that. So hopefully, hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. But am I still live? Mess with that. So sorry. This is I'm rusty on this live stream stuff. Okay. So what I was saying is like I just repeat myself, so I just kind of listen to where I go like to the last time I say something and then I cut it. So that's what I'm doing here. And just grab. You can drag in another socket, shift and then right click. Okay, so right here. And then right click. You can drag in another socket. You can shift and then right click. You can drag in another socket, and then we can just grab this by pressing G, and then we can kind of straighten that out. So that's kind of going straighten that out. And here, this is an example of like a lot of times I'll say something and then I'll stop because I can't think of the next word quick enough. I'm sure this happens to everybody, but I think it happens to me a lot more because I have like legit ADD, so I have to like, okay, where's my vocabulary? Why does the word not come to the front of my tongue? So anyway, this is kind of an example. I think of that out. So that's kind of going straight in. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this out. Straighten that out. So that's kind of going straight into that. We can do the same thing for all of these here. Just so we can see it a lot clearer where the sockets are being connected. Okay, there's a long section here, so I know I can cut all of this out. This one doesn't really need it. Something I also try to do is, it's easier when I'm not showing my face because I can cut and transition a lot easier. I try to match my mouse cursor though. So like right here. So my mouse cursor isn't doing anything from here to here. But then once it starts moving, I think I'll just cut it to there. Sockets are being connected. Because people like to see, what you're doing, obviously, on your screen. But I'm just moving stuff around here. So I might even speed that up. So I'll cut this, and then I'll take this here, and I'll just... I put it in a meta strip because when you use that, I'm using the traditional speed control strip. And I like that better still than the new like keyframes because I really don't know how to use those yet. But the ones that, the speed control, what I can do is I put everything in a meta strip that I want to speed up or slow down. And what that does is it creates a new start and end. So this is the start here, and this is the end. If I didn't do that, if this wasn't in a meta strip, then it's going to calculate like from all the way from the beginning of the movie that I imported to the end of the movie, and it's just a weird calculation. But when I add it in Control G for a meta strip, then that is saying, okay, it has a hard stop and a hard end. And I like doing that better than the actual hold cut or hold, because hold cuts get crazy and weird too. So this is the easiest way. So just meta strip and then add in a speed control on this. And then I'll just take both of these and pull these in a little bit. And you have to pull it in from the end. If you pull it from the start, it doesn't work. Again, quirks, Blender quirks, but it's really easy. So I'm just going to do that all over again just to show you how easy it is. Okay, so here we go. I cut this. I'm like, okay, here's a long stretch of stuff that's not happening. I cut here at the start. I cut here at the and then just select the video, Control G, Shift A, add in a speed control, and then take these down to however short I want it, and then close that gap. This one doesn't really
easy as that.
It's really cool. There. So this one we can pretty clearly see that, so we don't really need that either. And okay, so I'm gonna try to watch the chat here, but bear with me because again, I'm rusty on this. I'm video editing and I have ADD, and then I'm watching your chat. So I've already got one from Srujan. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but hello, I appreciate your video and thank you. I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate your comment, so thank you. Okay, so this is actually a lot more clean than we had it. This is actually a lot more clean than we had it. And if I get enough viewers, you know, that like this kind of content, I'll just edit all my course videos, and then you can kind of see behind the scenes, like kind of how I edit my videos. I shouldn't say I'll do it all the time, but I'll do it a lot more often. I do have, if you go to blenderfrenzy.com, the course right now is still in construction, so it's early access. You're getting it for $45. It's going to be $75 when I release it on Blender Market, and it's from the start to the finish. It's how to, like, it's the fundamentals of indie VFX. So if you're just doing run and gun VFX on your own and you want to add CG objects into real footage, this is the course for you. So I highly recommend checking that out. There you go. There's a plug for me, and I'm going to try to stop rambling and actually do more video editing. Okay, so this is actually a lot more clean than we had it. More clean than we had it. And see, sometimes I don't understand, like, why, like, I don't remember, like, why I, you know, had such a long pause. Sometimes, so, okay, I live right next to train tracks, and I'm not in, like, a studio. Again, this is, like, indie, like, do it yourself kind of thing. Like, I'm just in my living room, and there's a lot of noise. I live downtown, so there's a lot of noise going on outside. I would love to have, like, a dedicated studio or room where I could, like, pad this, but you can hear, like, trains, and you can hear like, cars. I don't know, like, there are several cars. I think, you know, the people who run the neighborhood, they just run around, you know, with loud cars and no mufflers and stuff like that. And so it's like I have to wait, or if a helicopter goes by. So sometimes that's why I wait so long, but other times I'm like, why did I wait so long? So let's go back. So let's see here. More clean than we had it. So let's go back, and don't forget to save it. Okay, I gotta figure out where I am now. So we don't really need that either. Okay, so this is actually a lot more clean than we had it. More clean than we had it. So let's go back and so you might notice this red bar. I get some questions sometimes about how to get this on here. So this is our cache. I'm using the proxy. So if I select one of my videos, I use this 25% proxy, and I just do it manually. And I have per project here. You can either do per strip or per project. I just have a single directory that all my projects go into, just this Blender proxies. It's just easier that way. And I like to do the 25%. It's the best. If you need to read stuff, which I really don't on my screen, but if you need to, like, read what the words are, you might want to do a higher proxy level, but it's going to be a bigger file. But with that proxy, you can also come to View and Cache, and then I check Show Cache and then Final Images, and that's where you can see this down here. I think you may have to also have this on here. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't. This is just, yeah. Anyway, this is the settings that I have. I wonder. I don't know if this helps at all. Having my mouse highlighter on, so you can kind of let me know if that helps or if that doesn't help. But so anyway, this cache kind of shows you, obviously, like being cached into memory. Something else you can do is going to edit preferences and then system. Scroll all the way down here. So here we go. So you can set your memory cache limit. I recommend putting this up to half, maybe not too much more than half of your system memory. I can't remember actually if I have 16 or 8 gigabytes. I might have 16. I'm not entirely sure, but this works well enough for me. And then proxy setup, I have manual because I wanted to do the proxy per project file path. So you can kind of set that here, and that just tells how much cache, how much this red bar is going to load. But once this is done, the reason why I'm saying that, if I refresh this, once that's refreshed, if I start playing this, you can see like right at the cuts, it jumps here and it doesn't cache that in. So sometimes you'll see me kind of scrubbing through so that it fills in, so that I can hear that smooth over the cuts. Anyway, long explanation for that little demonstration there. Okay, let's get back to editing. This is actually a lot more clean than we had it. So let's go back and don't forget to save it. To save it. Now you might be asking. Here we go, me repeating myself a lot. Now I'm not gonna actually go, because then I think about, well, so what am I gonna say? Like I start talking and I don't know exactly what I'm gonna say. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I can't say it like that. So there we go. Save it. Oh, what? Whoa, something's happening here. I mean, nothing is happening here. Hold on. What did I just do? Okay, sometimes I click the wrong buttons. Okay. Cut, delete, save there we go. And again, for those of you who are just joining in, here's my screencast keys, but my keyboard shortcuts are not the default. So if you're watching my shortcuts, they're not going to work straight from the box from Blender. Now I'm not going to actually go over how to do every single mask and isolation, mask and isolation of all of these circles. You're just going to have to look at your footage to see what makes sense, and you can see actually, which we haven't checked yet, is having that straight on the nose, So real quick to fix this, on the nose. So real quick to fix this, you just need to fix this. You just need to add keyframes, and we can add keyframes to the transform. This is the nose here. That's why we so aptly labeled these. But we want on frame 540. We want on frame 540. At 540, this is okay. So let's put keyframes by hovering here and pressing. So as you can see, basically what I'm doing, I just cut out the things that I don't need, and I'm kind of watching this, and then I'm just like moving this as I go, and listening to my repeats, try to take probably the last iteration. Sometimes I don't do the last iteration, but there's a lot of tips and tricks too that I can kind of go into as I'm doing this. And I always think about making like short videos. There's so many different tips and tricks that you can do with the video sequence editor. You know, it's interesting because I watch things like, you know, editing in Adobe Premiere and other things like Final Cut Pro, Vegas, and things like that. It's like, I don't know, Blender is, once you set up the keyboard shortcuts, the, you know, the most efficient way, Blender can do this really quickly. And so I know a lot of people actually don't know a lot of that stuff. So it's like, I just need time to do more things. I don't have a lot of time.
Pressing
so.
I.
But point is, we might be going, you know, here. I might be going into some of that when I come across it. If I come across something, then I'll just let you know. All right. So, now I don't actually know how to read the YouTube stuff either. So it's like, I've got like one concurrent viewer. I guess that means only one person is watching, but 15 people have come in and like sat in for a second.
Both of those.
So I don't know. We'll figure it out though.
I on both of those.
Okay, so I don't actually need a cut here, I don't think. I'm gonna move this cut. I can actually take both all four of these handles and just snap that here, so I can kind of slide that, and you can see it just moves the cut, which is kind of cool. But I don't think I need it there.
On both of those.
Okay, I'm gonna put it here, and then I want to deselect, and then I'll just select those.
But when it's facing straight, when it's facing straight on, we're going to need to do a different translation. But when it's facing straight on, we're going to need to do it. But when it's facing straight on, we're going to need.
So you can see that I'm repeating myself, and just because I think, nope, I don't want to say it like that, and then I just say it again. Again, I used to clap because then I could see it, you know, as a waveform just spiking. But I'm going to have to go through it anyway, so I just listen to all the repeats.
So,
and I jump ahead too, so like if I notice I'm starting to repeat, I'll jump ahead to see when I finally get the right iteration.
So I can click this, press backspace. Let's just bring these back down to 0.
Okay, so I think this one is the last one here.
We're going to need to do a different translation. But when it's facing straight on, we're going to need to do a different location, obviously, because this looks terrible. So location, obviously, because this looks terrible.
Okay, so here, one thing that I can do is it's like to breathe or not to breathe. So sometimes it's good to cut your breathing out. What I mean is, like, if I'm like before I say something else, sometimes it's good to cut that out. Sometimes it's good to keep that in. So something like this,
because this looks terrible. So I can.
So right there, I'd be like, and then and that's kind of natural, and people kind of expect that, and so I might keep that in. But here's the difference. Let me show you.
Terrible. So,
well, let's cache that in first, so it doesn't skip.
Location, obviously, because this looks terrible. So
that's natural. Even though I cut out a lot here in between, but it sounds natural. I could just go right to where I start the S sound. So
obviously, because this looks terrible.
Let's just cache that in first.
This looks terrible. So I can.
It's not that noticeable in this instance, and then it cuts out more time. So I don't know. I'm just going to keep it like this.
Press backspace. Oh, nope. So let's just bring.
And then it doesn't even matter because I'm going to have to cut it further along anyway.
Let's just bring these back down to 0 first, which is what we would expect here. And then what happens if we go down? Just straight down.
So where do I want to cut that at?
Let's just bring these. So I can. So
okay.
So this looks terrible. So,
okay, so I don't like how my screen and my mouse kind of jumps here. Sometimes you can't avoid that, but what I can do is make like an L cut here. So I can just take this, if I right click on this, and you, again, default Blender might be shift right click, but I can just kind of continue on this strip so you can kind of see it just continues without that cut. And then I'm going to wait until my mouse moves. So it looks like it moves right here. And I think that's good. So I'm going to keep my cursor here. I'm going to take these and just snap it to that.
this looks terrible.
So the audio is being cut before the video.
So,
And that's to compensate for my moving of the mouse. It's still, you can see, kind of still jumps down here, but it's all, you have to evaluate. Is anybody going to notice? Is it that big of a deal?
So let's just bring these back down to 0 first, which is what we would expect here. And then what happens if we go down? Just straight down. Just straight down.
Okay, I think I'm going to cut this out.
Okay. Yeah, that does.
Yeah, I don't need that. Again, to breathe or not to breathe. Probably after that, I will keep that breath in there.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't
sounds natural.
Terrible. Yeah, that doesn't look. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't look terrible. Kind of looks a little bit meh. What if we just went? Kind of looks a little bit.
So you kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm noticing a skip or a, you know, where I'm not saying anything. Let's just skip ahead.
Meh. What if we just went?
So I know I'm just going to cut all this out here.
Meh.
So I like to cut, move the handle, cut, move the handle, and then get rid of all of those gaps. And again, I know I keep saying this, sorry for those who are watching, but if you're just tuning in, my shortcut keys, I'm going to have to say this probably a lot. My shortcut keys are not the default shortcut keys. So even though you might see mine over here, I changed them to
kind of looks a little bit meh. What
better suit my workflow and be more efficient.
a little bit meh. What if?
So that's why I'm not going to actually be saying my shortcut keys. I'm just going to be saying like cut or get rid of the gaps or anything. I'm not actually going to be saying the keys
what if we
themselves.
Just went straight one way or the other this way?
Because your shortcut keys
that's
might be different.
A lot more terrible. Okay, so we can't do that.
I got to also be careful because if I'm actually doing sometimes I'm not talking, but I'm doing something important on the screen, and if I'm just looking at my waveforms and I just cut out everything in the waveforms, I might miss something. So I got to be careful about that too.
One way or the other this way. Okay, that's obviously a lot more terrible. Okay, so we can't do that. What if we went up? So we can't do that. What if we went up?
Let's see, maybe here.
What if we went up? So it looks like the only way is down. So it looks like the only way is down. So about negative 25 or negative 25 or negative 30.
Can you hear the train?
Negative.
So annoying. When I'm recording stuff, it's so annoying. Especially, I think the other night, like within like 15 or 20 minutes, there were like 3 or 4 trains. So annoying. Anyway.
Negative 25 or negative.
You might hear it a little bit louder. That was actually something in the distance. Probably going to keep my window open so you can kind of hear how loud it is. this is all just behind the scenes stuff. Welcome aboard to all of those who are coming in. We've got 3 concurrent viewers according to YouTube, and 17 total views. Thank you for joining me. Totally random tonight, so this is just for fun. I might do this now more often. Just want you guys to know I'm alive and well, and just trying to finish this course as quickly as possible. But anyway, okay. What do I have here? What am I doing? Absolutely nothing in this stretch. So that's cut it there. 30. That's about as good as we're going to get. And we accidentally still had auto keying on, which helped us in this situation, but be careful when you have that on. So you can see this is about how much I have left of this video. Frame 490 and then 540. About as good as we're going to get. And we accidentally still had auto keying on, which helped us in this situation, but be careful when you have that on. So now we can see on frame 490 and then 540 and 540. 490 and then 540, 540, and then 540. That should look okay, but let's see what happens like in the middle. Welcome all those newcomers to the live stream. Hope your night is going fantastically. Still, is that a word? Fantastically. But let's see what happens like in the middle. So that still doesn't look all that good there. Doesn't look all that good there. There. So you may need to come up with so we may need to eventually come up with a rig to where it switch. That sounds like a truck. You know what? I probably just better just to. There we go. Just close the window for now. There we go. Just okay. Coming back here. So you may need to come up with. So we may need to eventually come up with a look all that good there. So you may. So here we go. I'm repeating myself, of course. So this is the last iteration, I think, of that. So it will be using the translate. It'll be to where it switches back and forth between. Okay. So I'm gonna cut it here. Good there. So we may need to. So we may need to eventually come up with a rig. I'm gonna get the there. So we may second so out of the way there. So we may need to eventually come up with a rig to where it switches back and forth between the masks. Okay, don't do anything there. Between the masks. So it will be using the translate. It'll be using the transform mask here when it's looking to the side. It'll be using the transform masks. So it will be using the translate. It'll be using the. So it will be using. It'll be using the trans. Okay. Using the. So I'm gonna cut this. Sometimes I will purposely repeat myself as an overlap. So here, for example, it says it will be using the, and even though I know I'm not gonna cut there, I'm gonna repeat that part and then kind of cut it in the middle. You'll see this as I go along. It'll be more obvious later. It will be using the. It'll be using the. So right here, I'm gonna say the translate or whatever. Mask here when it's looking using the transform using the transform using the Okay, make sure that this is cached in, because sometimes when you listen to it back and if there's a gap in the cache, it's not going to give you an accurate like result.
Using the transform,
And it might sound weird.
the transform.
Pull this in with the, there we go.
It will be using the transform mask here, transform mask here when it's looking to the side, but then when it's looking straight on, it would use the in paint mask. Paint.
Here's an example of where I can't think of the next word, which is mask.
Would use the in paint mask.
Use the in paint mask. So just cut that out.
Paint mask.
Editing is magic. That's really what it is. And that's me clearing my throat.
But what I'm going to do is I'll play mask. But what I'm going to do mask. But what I'm going to paint mask. But what I'm going to do.
Ooh. So here, this is harsh. I need to either go before or after the breath. So here, and that's so when people who are kind of new to video editing or amateurs, they kind of like cut at weird times, and they don't do like overlaps or L cuts or F cuts or anything. So here I'm gonna, let's see, we can go in. You see my breath here. I'm gonna either take this in right before that breath, you can see, but this is too close together, so I'm either gonna pull all that out and redo that, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna go after that breath and just snap all of those here and snap this one here and then close that.
Mask. But what I'm
maybe we can extend this a little bit here just to be more natural.
Mask. But what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that sounds much better. Let's cache that in here.
Paint mask. But what I'm going to do is I'll play around with this. But what I'm going to do, I'm not going to.
And of course, I repeat myself, so I should probably go to the last one.
But what I'm going to do, I'm not going to.
So you can see, 1, 2.
But what I'm going to do.
3, 4. When do I figure out?
But what I'm going to do is.
Nope, it's still going. Look at this. It's like all the way from here to here. Like it's been like, I don't know, what is that? 2 minutes trying to figure out what I'm going to say here.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with. I'll group them how.
Okay, so I'm glad I did that because this is where I need to cut it. So I'm going to delete all of that. I do need to save it also. And I like to save in iterations.
It would use the in paint mask. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with it and get a good.
All right, let's listen to this, see what this is.
It would use the in paint mask. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with it and get a good setup for every one of these circles.
See, look, it's a split second. I didn't actually take 2 minutes to think about what I was going to say.
And then I'll group them how they should be, and these circles, I'll group them how they should be, and I'll show you the final result. I'm not going to record everything that I'm going to do. You have all the principles now to be able to do what I'm doing.
So I hope, as embarrassing as some of this is, I hope this, kind of gives you some, like, permission for yourself, if you're like me, to, like, just make mistakes and whatever. Like, when you see stuff on the internet, and YouTube videos and stuff that you like, everything is so highly curated, and the professionals make it look natural, like they're just naturally doing that. And sometimes you can think to yourself, oh, I'm just not good enough, or I don't like them. But I guarantee you, this is what, the life of a content creator is. Just like lots of editing, lots of cutting of stuff out, lots of, um, you know, takes and retakes and all of that stuff. So uh, there you go. That's my little, pep talk there. You have all the principles now to be able to do what I'm doing, meaning you can do just like I just said. You have all the principles that you can do what I'm doing. It's very easy. I shouldn't say that. It's not. Well, the concepts are easy. It takes a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of work, but it's fun, and it's when you start to get better at it, it's yeah, it's fun.
And of course, you'll have the final result that you can. You have all the principles now to be able to do what I'm doing, and of course, you'll have the final result that you can look at and play around with. You can test, tweak, and test to your own. You can look at and tweak and test to analyze and tweak. But I am going to show you one that you can look at and analyze and tweak and analyze and tweak.
Okay, so this sounds a little unnatural, and I think that's because there's not enough of a gap here. So let me just take this and pull that out just a little bit.
And analyze.
I think it's this. I think I need to pull this out a little bit more.
And analyze. And analyze.
Okay, there's a breath here that I need to cut out.
And analyze.
Oh, that's better. So sometimes if you cut something too early, then it sounds unnatural. I'm sorry, cut things too late. So it's like right on the cusp of you saying it. So you kind of back it out a little bit if you can.
Analyze and tweak to your own liking as well. But I am going to show you one more
and again, I think I said this a little bit before, but sometimes I'm just looking at the waveforms, and you can kind of get in this mode, or at least I can get in this mode where I'm only looking at the waveforms. I'm cutting out everything that looks like a space, and that's not necessarily a good idea, even with the audio, because sometimes silence is the best for that situation because of the way people talk. And if you cut something too close together, it's just going to sound like, and it's going to sound rushed. So that's why sometimes it's better to keep those pauses in. Sometimes it's better to keep the what do you call the breaths and stuff. I got another comment here I'm going to read. Do you always edit your videos in Blender, or do you do your rough cuts in Blender and then polish it in something else like Premiere Pro? No! All in Blender. I'm as close to a Blender purist as you'll probably come across. In fact, my channel, I want to kind of grow as a kind of a Blender purist type of thing, and all that I mean by that is like I'm open to using other software, absolutely, but I'm always curious, like, can this be done only in Blender? Even if it's not the most efficient, even if it's like completely backwards, I just have this obsession being like, well, I wonder if I can actually do that in Blender. So this isn't knocking any other software. I think other software is really good at what it does for a lot of different things. And if you're in the industry, you're going to be using a lot of different software. So this has nothing to do with like me not liking other software. I'm just I guess I'm just obsessed with Blender. And so I'm like, let's see if I can do that in Blender. But when it comes to video editing, I do all of my stuff in Blender. It's because I know it, and it's really easy. And if you're, again, I've said this several times throughout the stream, but I change all of my hotkey keys to where it's really efficient. And when you do that, it's so much, it's so fast. And I remember just recently, Ian Hubert had a video on, this is on his Patreon, because I subscribe to his stuff, because it's so good. I mean, who doesn't like Ian? But so he has a video where he talks about how easy it was to use some other program to edit this video. And he showed what he did, and I'm like, dude, you could do that so much faster in Blender. Just do it in Blender. So anyway, there you go. That's a long-winded answer to that. Elizabeth, thank you for the chat. You got another one too here. Woohoo! I'm impressed. Most I've seen usually use Premiere or something. It's nice to see it all in Blender. Yes, agreed. And again, with the video editing, okay, the rough cuts I think are faster in Blender. Like if you get your shortcut keys right, they're faster in Blender. But I do my graphics work, I do my animations and everything, all of that in Blender. But the liability to that is right now, just with all of the stuff that I have going on, I can only focus on so much. So sometimes my videos don't look all that professional. But what I want to get into is I want to try to do like motion graphics for like the titles and the lower thirds, which I've already started doing. You can find some of those videos, but I want to get it to where it looks like professional type things that YouTube has on there. And it's it's so easy in Blender with the geometry nodes. So if I can get some templates going with that, I'm going to put some of those on my website. Some of them I'll have for free where people can download. Some of them I'll probably put packs together where you can like pay a few bucks to have some of those templates. But that's kind of one of the things I have in the works. It's just trying to finish this course. It's brutal. But Elizabeth, thank you for your question. But I am going to show you one more thing because you might be thinking, well, if we're only using red, green, and blue channels, we only have 3 options. And so I thought about this live stream, by the way, because I'm kind of trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I'm trying to, do my video editing as I work, but I've just been radio silent the past few months, and I don't like that. I have a full-time job, and that I do to make ends meet, and I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to have Blender be my only thing. So I want to make and sell online courses. I have a membership. If you go to blenderfrenzy.com, you can see all of that. Please support me if you can. I don't have a lot on there right now, but it's in the works, and I want to try to get that snowball rolling. But I have very limited time, and once I can replace my day job with just Blender stuff, I'm going to just be creating all sorts of different things. And I want to try to focus more on the video editing portion of it because I know there's a lot of demand for that. And Blender's free, so it's like that's also why I kind of try to do only Blender stuff, because if I can do it in Blender, I don't have Adobe Creative Cloud because I don't like this whole subscription model for software. Now for content creation, like Ian Hubert stuff and people who are showing like tutorials and stuff, I have no problem doing a monthly like thing on Patreon. The problem is with software, it's like I remember the days where you just paid for your software at the store, and I'm aging myself here, and you would just get a box of it and you'd install it, and it wouldn't be online anywhere. You just have it, and you pay for it once. So that's my old fogey kind of outlook on that. But anyway, let's go back to some editing. That's why you're here. So I can tend to ramble a lot, as you may have noticed. Yes and no. So yes and no what? What am I saying? Green and blue channels. We only have 3 options. What? I'll show you one more thing because you might be thinking, well, if we're only using red, green, and blue channels, we only have 3 options. Yes and no. So, okay. Options. Yes and no. So there are a couple ways you can have more options for colors, and that is we can come up here and make a duplicate of the circles collection, and then
of the circles collection. And then let's just 1, 2, 3. And then we want to.
Okay, so I just skipped ahead just to see if I can catch any sort of repeats before I start actually doing my cuts.
And then let's just, I don't know, title this one mask 1, 2, 3.
Mask, wait for like
mask
15
1, 2,
seconds, and then say 1, 2, 3.
The first RGB. And then we want exclude the, and then we want to exclude the first RGB. Mask 1, 2, 3, because that's the first RGB. And then we want to exclude the.
Okay, so here's a good example of, and I may actually go to 100% so you can kind of see this better. This is gonna really lag though. So up here, I'm kind of watching my cursor, my mouse, my timeline, or no, my mouse cursor. And if I come over here and cache that in, it's really slow at 100% here. But oh, actually, you know what? That doesn't look too bad. I think that was just Blender. I mean,
and then we want to exclude the.
Still a little fast. Just with my cursor, I'm gonna maybe do an L. Is it an L cut? Yeah. So I'm gonna bring this cut over a little bit. So it's called an L cut because you can see this is like a shape of an L. An F cut would be the opposite. So if I extended this past the, I'm looking at the video and the audio. So L cut, F cut. I'm just gonna undo that. Yep. If I hit the right button, there we go. Is that gonna work enough? Oh my gosh, that's way too slow. Okay, let's do 50% here.
First RGB, and then we want to exclude the RGB.
Come on, cache. Okay, something that you can do, I'm gonna save it here first. Something that you can do, which I didn't used to do before, but in 4.1.1, it seems to be stable. But this used to crash my computer. But you can do the free prefetch frames. And again, if you're just like coming in and you didn't catch the cache portion of this. This down here is the cache. And then if I go to view cache and then I want to click show cache and then final images, and then you can see this red bar down here kind of caches through. If you go to edit preferences and system, you can set your memory cache limit. This determines how much it's actually cached in. I recommend half or maybe a little more than half of your system memory. Don't go all the way because it's going to crash everything in your system, or at least it'll crash Blender and it will hang your system. At least it did to me. Maybe it won't to you. But anyway, if you click prefetch frames, it'll prefetch all of the frames before this. So you can see I moved my timeline cursor over here, and here's where the cache starts. But if I click prefetch frames, it'll start wherever my timeline cursor is and get all of that in. And then I can just
mask 1, 2, 3, because that's the first RGB. And then we want to.
Perfect, yeah. And I can do that actually. I probably should do that for the 100% as well. And then when we do that, it's going to cache in over all of those cuts, and you can see it kind of hangs at the cuts. And so that's the prefetch frames really helps if it doesn't crash your computer.
Mask 1, 2, 3, because that's the first RGB. And then we want to
Yeah, I like that. That's fine. Okay, going back to 25%, unchecking that, and moving on.
And then we want to exclude the duplicated collection. And then we want to exclude.
Cut out the repeats. Oh, you know what? I spent all that time. I'm going to keep this portion of it because that's what I spent so much time on right now. And then
we want to exclude the RGB. And then we want to exclude the duplicate RGB.
That's fine.
And then we want to exclude the duplicated collection from mask 123. And then we just create a new mask. We can just copy settings. That's fine. We'll change them anyway. And then we'll say mask 456 for the second RGB. And then we're just going to swap these. So this will be disabled. This will be enabled. So this will be enabled.
I'm going to keep my breath here because I'm actually doing something on the screen that
disabled. This will be enabled.
I don't want to cut that out.
Mask 123 circles enabled. Mask 456 circles 001 enabled. So then we can.
And I know this is probably kind of boring if you're just watching somebody video edit. That's why I'm kind of trying to explain what I do and why I do it. And I like that. So when I watch stuff, if I'm learning something, I like kind of seeing their whole process. Not everybody's like that. They just kind of want the quick and, just tell me exactly what I need to do when I need to do it. This is more of like a long form, like, here's my editing. And a lot of it's just me watching me edit.
So then we can come over here and enabled. So then we can come over here and make sure we are editing on the circles 001. We don't want these. And then we can choose 3 more colors to represent what we want. So circles 001, we don't want these. And then we can choose.
I think I decided not to say something there.
We are editing on the circles 001. And then we can choose circles 001. And then we can choose 3 more colors. And then we can choose
pause. Nope, getting rid of that pause.
Choose 3 more colors to represent what we want. So for example, over here, for this beard, let's just say we want to make these over here green. These over here green. So I can just take those, and we already have the green, so we just add green and then Control L and link those materials.
So I'll kind of show you here. If I do this video, I actually think I'm going to put this video out as a free preview for the course because it's super helpful. Like when people make masks for like their marker removal on their face, they usually just do like 2D masks. And this is also something that, a lot of Adobe After Effects and Premiere and all of that stuff they have to do because it's mostly just a 2-dimensional visual effects type thing. But when you can utilize the 3D motion in Blender, you can it's so much easier. It's so much faster to have 3D like markers, like you see all these circles here from my face. If you just like parent that to the motion of the head, then you have to do very minimal animating the little splines and stuff, which takes hours and hours. You could do this in like less than 30 minutes and have the same result. So I think that's pretty useful. I think I'm gonna release that one for just as a free preview. It works just as well as a standalone video. So that's I'm not editing that video right now. I'm editing the compositing video where we composite all together to remove the markers on the face. But that is what I'm doing there. Or this is what I'm editing here.
Materials. And then I will select these here. Just circle select some of this here. All right, and then I'll select a blue one, and then Control L, just link those materials. So everything else is blue. This is green. This is green. Come back to compositing.
Oop. So it just jumps to compositing. I need to make sure my mark or my cursor goes all the way. So let's pull this out just a little bit here. Oops.
This is green. Green.
All right. Okay, so here, this is maybe a little bit nitpicky, perfectionistic, but I'm going to make a cut here, and then I'm going to slide this back a little bit so that I can get my cursor moving from here to up a little bit more natural, even though it's really quick still.
Green. Come back to...
No, I like that. Okay, cool.
Green. Come back to compositing.
Just helps so people aren't confused at what's happening on the screen. I don't do that always, just in, if I'm switching workspaces or if I'm going to a specific setting, so they can see the trail that goes up instead of just all of a sudden, boom, something's happening on the screen somewhere else.
And then I'm going to take all of these here. We're going to shift D to duplicate all of those. And then this is going to be, we're going to just call this, man, this is hard to select. And then this is going to be, we're going to just call this, man, this is hard to select, beard left. And then we'll go to, I think, frame 610. Nope, 690. And then F12.
So here, sometimes this is what I'll do. I'll like skip ahead and like cut different sections out that I know I'm going to keep. And then I'll come back and then I'll just clear those gaps.
And then we'll go to, I think, frame 610. Nope, 690. And then F12.
Okay, this is probably a good idea to do my prefetch frames here. And then just refresh and then wait for that to clear all of those cuts.
Call this, man, this is hard to select, beard left. And then we'll go to, I think, frame 610. Nope, 690. And F12. And so now,
and maybe a little bit more here.
F12. F12. And so now we know we can actually just,
yeah, looks good.
Come over here, and we need to duplicate both of these because both of the here, and we need to duplicate.
All right, we got a repeat here.
And we need to duplicate both of.
Okay, so this is also something, it's like you don't want necessarily things to be cut all over the place. Sometimes it's okay. But in this case, what I did is I cut out, let me just undo that here real quick, I'll show you. I cut out a duplicate thing that I said, but something different is now happening on my screen. So see, I move from here to here. And I want to keep that motion. so it doesn't just randomly cut and people are kind of confused at what's going on. So this is where probably an F cut is going to be the best. So I'll cut it where, I repeat what I said and to the last one that I said, the last iteration that I have. And then I will try to make just adjust the video. And I think this is going to be better as an F cut, because if I bring this out over here for the video, and we need to duplicate both of these. It's going to keep that, but I'm not even going to do an F cut. I mean, I am, but I'm going to cut this here and just slide this, I think, to where I move it, because that's the most important part, just so that people, yeah, right here. So it goes from here to then me moving the screen. Both of these. And then I need to figure out then where I need to recut. Okay, I think probably right here. So all I did was I cut here and here, and then I slid this to kind of match like a continuation. So I slid the video from in here this, let's see, yeah, this way, so that it was kind of fast forward in here. And then I right clicked and I just looked to see here, and this is going to be shift right click for you. I have different shortcut keys. So I just kind of tried to line those up. Yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. Let's refresh and do our prefetch frames. And we need to duplicate both of these. Oh yeah, look at that, seamless. And I'll show you in 100% mode. And what we're doing is we're watching right here with the screen and me kind of dragging the screen down. And we need to duplicate both of these. Look at that. That's cool. Sometimes you get like, you do something and you're not entirely meaning to, but it's like a happy accident, so that's nice. Okay. Moving on. Oh, I don't want the scene size. Let's go to 25%, which is what my proxy is. Because now we need to choose mask 456. Okay, we're almost done. And I know it's like over an hour. It's like, and then we'll choose the green, an hour and 15 minutes so far. Here. And we can bring this down. This should go in. Works perfect, yeah. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. This image, and it can also go into. So Elizabeth, are you do you edit a lot of video? Bring this down. This I paused there. Here. This. Bring this down. This should go into this image, and it can also go into well, let's see, and I know this is probably hard to watch just because this is blurry, because my proxy is at 25%. Maybe in the future versions I'll make a proxy at 100%. I've never done that before because it just takes up so much space, but maybe for live streams it might be easier to see like on the screen and you not watching something that's so blurry. I don't know. I'm just testing all this out tonight. It was a random thought that I had. Grab this to make this a little bit. Let's see. Let's grab this to make this a little bit more clear. I'm actually going to pull another one out straight from here, and then that will go into that one. That one. Okay, so then we can plug this in.
Okay, so then we can plug this in and go into that one. Okay, so then we can
Whoa!
plug this in.
All right. Give me just a second. I just spilled my electrolytes drink all over myself, which is fun. Got a little bit left of that. Some water. Wow, wonderful. All right. That also happens occasionally. Okay. Let's finish this. We're almost done. We're almost done. If I can just stop babbling.
Plug this in. And
Elizabeth says, I've mostly used Adobe, but I've gotten to Blender a couple of years ago and love it, but I'm still not the best with the NLA. I haven't used the NLA. Now, I don't know if you mean what I'm doing, because this is the VSE. The NLA, I tried that. Man. But I think that's something different. That's like the nonlinear editor, which technically, well, this is more of a linear editor. I don't know. I've used the NLA in like 3D animation, and I don't know. It's hard. It's very difficult if you don't know what's going on. But the VSE, which is what I'm using here, it's super easy. I need to update that key map though. It's basically the same shortcut keys, and I can kind of show you what you've probably already seen. So the way I use to cut, I make sure that so I'm right-handed. I don't have to pick up my right hand from my mouse. That I can leave my right hand on my mouse all the time, and then I just do everything with my left hand. So for cutting, I have F to cut, and then default Blender is K, and in order for me to see where K is, I have to look down at my keyboard, and if it's on the F key, then I don't have to look down. What else? So the same thing, S to snap, so it snaps these handles here. I think it's Shift S. So I just I cut and move those more than I shift. So, and then Shift S, I've moved to to slide, and then I think S is to slide. So I just swap those. And then to clear that gap, like I just did, I have V. So that's really easily. I think by default it's backspace. Maybe. Now I can't remember. But yeah. So once you figure out the keyboard shortcuts that work for you, so you can keep your eyes on the screen, you don't have to lift your hands and move them all around. I tell you what, it cuts your work down, or cuts the time down in to a third of the time. This in, and okay, this is wrong. Anyway, we have to. I don't know why I plugged that into the factor. This needs to go into the image here. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I hate moving my right hand off my mouse. Yeah, I do it as much as I can, but there are still, I think, some things that I have to. But for the most part, okay. But we can select this, press backspace. I've got it down. We figure out a new transform here. And I can even maybe pull that on the X over a little bit. Yeah, maybe that's a little bit better. Now, if you're looking for circles, you might over a little bit. Yeah, maybe that's a little bit better. Now, by the way, if you're wondering, you're kind of new to the VSE and you're wondering how to hear the like the scrubbing. So when you scrub through the timeline, and I also have my scrubbing set as a shortcut key for my right mouse button, so I don't have to click up here. So I can just click anywhere. But anyway, you can hear the scrubbing. That's not on by default. If you don't know, you can kind of come to playback and then scrubbing, play audio. So if I don't do that, then you don't hear the audio when you scrub through. But I definitely need that on so that I can match my cuts. Sometimes I need to be very precise.
Better. Now, if you're looking for circles, you might see circles, but a little bit better. Now, if you're looking for circles, you might see circles, but if you're not looking for,
I don't like that.
Now,
okay, let's do an F cut here. Oops, I want to cut that again. I want to snap that.
Now, if you
and then I don't want this breath here, so let's just get rid of that.
Now, if you're looking for,
look at that.
Better. Now, if you're looking for circles,
okay, just want to show you the difference here from what I just did. So I'm going to take both of these and I'm just going to slide these over here. We'll just do that. And let's go to 100%. Let's save this before I do prefetch, just in case. So we have something that's like this.
A little bit better. Now, if you're looking for,
oh, that actually that actually works too. But I had these here.
Better. Now, if you're looking,
well, I don't remember where I had them, but it didn't look very good. I thought it was going to be a cool demonstration here, but it's
a little bit better. Now, if you're looking,
so it kind of jumps a little bit, and then it kind of it cuts like where I'm like still breathing, and it just sounds unnatural.
A little bit better. Now, if you're looking for
all right, well, I can't recreate it. Anyway, so I just moved these a little bit here to compensate for that. I think I do like that breath there. And again, I may be overthinking this, but
it's a little bit better. Now, if you're looking for circles,
oh, I like that. I think that's good. Okay, how much more do we have? Oh man, Justin, come on.
You might see circles, but
if
you're not
2
looking
hours.
For it, it's very difficult to find that.
This
okay, so
won't take that long to actually edit in real time, but
okay, so then.
But I don't mind. I
so
can live stream for 5 hours if I needed to. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's one of the big shot vehicles that are just riding around all over the place.
Okay, so then all we need to do is add...
Yeah, I could live stream for 5 hours. I don't care. It's just it's probably boring for everybody else.
Is add in another mix node or that. Okay, so then all we need to do is add in another mix node or...
Is that good?
To do is add in another mix node.
Okay.
Node or another alpha over node, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to do a mix, and then we need to add in our mask blur over here. Of course, this needs to be in the bottom, and then this will be in the top. And now we have the top. And now we have that added to all of the other ones, and that is our fourth color. And now we have that added to all of the other ones, and that is our fourth color. So we have 3 more colors we could use already, just doing it the mask layer way. So we have 3 more colors that we can...
There we go. Here's a repeat.
There's even another way that we use using it the 3 more colors we. So we have 3 more colors. So we have.
Okay. Here's something that I like to do. And this is talking about the breath again, if we're taking a breath. Sometimes I like to keep the initial breath with a new section of audio. Sometimes I like to keep the new breath. In this case, I'm going to keep the initial breath. So So right before I go, so I cut it here right before I say so, and then I don't keep this breath. I just cut that right where the S comes in.
Earth color.
And let's prefetch that.
So we have 3 more
And see how seamless that is? Nobody would ever know.
color. So we have 3 more colors that we can.
I mean, with the audio. They might see it cut with the video, but yeah, I like that. Again, editing is magic.
Using it the view layer way, so making different view layers. But there's even an there's even another way that will give us even more options for colors. So let's say we wanted to, I'm not going to make anything new except for coming back to the green. Let's say we wanted to make these a different color. They're already used. Even another way that will give us even more options for colors. So let's say we wanted to, I'm not going to make anything new except for coming back to the green. Let's say we wanted to make these a different color. Something that's not red, green, or blue. We could just say like these a different color. Something that's not red, green, or blue. We could just say
Nope, they wouldn't if they were watching this. I don't remember what I said. Well, what is that in response to?
different color. Something that's not red, green.
The seamlessness of it. Yeah. Gotcha.
Green or blue. We could just say like fuchsia or something like that.
Fuchsia.
I actually don't know what color fuchsia is, so don't harp on me. So don't harp on me. That looks like a fuchsia to me. Don't hate. Okay. Don't hate.
Yeah.
Don't hate. Okay. And then just link those materials. Come back to compositing. F12. Okay, so link those materials. Come back to those materials. And then just link those materials. Come back to compositing. F12. F12. Okay, so then this of course doesn't. So then this of course doesn't apply anymore because
we're getting so
nothing
close.
is green that's coming out of there, or at least not very much.
The hardest part with the breaths is actually at the end when I do something like this.
Very much.
Because sometimes I'm like, do I want to wait that long before I pull in something
Very
else?
much. So what I can do instead,
that looks natural.
Color,
when I make my cuts, I try to make it as natural looking as possible.
Is that I can
That's the whole point. Natural looking and sounding.
Can plug in.
Sometimes I like to keep my ums in, and sometimes I like to cut them out. So like this.
Plug in. Let's just plug this in.
It feels more natural to keep that in since I'm like thinking.
Plug in. Let's just plug this in straight away.
Yeah.
Here, bring this, and then let's straight away. And then let's bring this down.
I'm gonna cut that out though.
And then let's bring this down. Okay. And then let's bring this down here so we can test it out. So how would I hide? We can test it out.
Okay, let's do.
Test it out.
Does that look okay?
Out.
No.
it out. You can test it out. I might make another cut here and then slide it. Test it out. Test it out. Test it out. So what I'm trying to do is just cut out the unnecessary. I'll just cut that out. Cut out unnecessary like pauses, not with my voice, but like with if there's nothing happening on the screen, so my mouse isn't moving. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do here. It's good enough. Test it Sometimes out. It's just like so whatever. How would I test it out? So how would I ice it out? What if I get rid of that? So we can test it out. So how test it out? So how test it out? So how would I isolate? How would I Ooh, can I go over this now? How would I isolate those? Okay, this may not work as well, but here's a little tip for you. So I'm saying how would I, and I say it twice, and how would I merge the how would I's? And here's a pro tip. If you want to merge two things that you're saying, do it on the consonants. Don't do it on the vowels. So if you have S, T's, like you can make it seem very seamless. Now, this might not be the perfect example because it's a D, how would I? But I'm going to try it. So something like this. Yeah, so we'll see. So we're going to cut it there. How would I and there. We'll see if this works. It may not work. So how would I isolate? Oh, it's like butter. Let's prefetch that again. So how would I isolate those? Oh yeah. Oh, that worked a lot better than I thought it was going to. So I just took two, like something that I said or repeated, cut it on the consonants, put them together, and there you go. Like butter. So how would I isolate those? Well, what we can do is, yeah, let's save this. Add in a color. Add in a color. Hue correct. Plug that right in here, and let's scroll. We're getting there. We're almost there. For those who are hanging on. But if we go to value, we can just kind of adjust it over here. But if we go to adjust it over here, we can also adjust it over here. But if we go to value, we can just kind of eyeball where this color might be, which is going to be somewhere around here. So I'm going to take this point, pump it all the way up, and then I'm going to take the points on either side, then I'm going to take the points on either side of them and like bring them all the way down like this. And then actually I'm going to take this one and then Elizabeth, thank you. Select these and then I surprised myself, to be honest. I didn't think it was gonna work. Delete those. Take this one and this.
And then actually I'm going to delete those. One down and then take this one down. So we have this spike where that color should be. Now where that color should be. Now that doesn't should be. That isn't giving us the result that I want. So I think what I have to do we're getting it. Look at it. We're so close. Come back to the layout. I think this actually has to be full on to like the edge of the sun. Full on to like the edge of the circle. So let's go back and see if we've changed anything here. Okay, so maybe it's more over here. Okay, now do I want to... No, I'm going to cut a lot of this out. I was thinking maybe here, do a speed control, but I'm not really doing anything. So just kind of cutting out where my cursor just kind of hangs there. Not doing anything. Kind of doing something here. And I can use a speed control maybe here. Or not. Sometimes people just, they like to see all of this stuff here. Just making lots of cuts. Speeding that up a little bit. Okay, so maybe it's more... I'm going to cut that out. There we go. Okay, so maybe it's more over here. There we go. I just had more over here. There we go. I just had to move that here. There we go. I just had to move that color a little bit. Yeah, let's do a speed control here. Why not? Why not? See, look how easy that is. Speed all that up. Just making it a little bit brighter. There we go. Ooh, and actually what I'm gonna do is cut this, get rid of this one, and get rid of this one. And we're gonna bring this underneath here so that it matches what I say. Just making it a little bit brighter. There we go. There we go, something like that. Actually, we're gonna cut that here. Something like that. A little bit more. Just making it a little bit brighter. There we go. Something like that. Good enough. Like that. And then we can run that through. And then we can run this through like that. And then we can run this. Ooh, that's that jumps. Let's see, how do I do that? Okay, so let's do. Ooh, okay. Let's just bring this out a little bit. Cut it here and just slide this. I don't want that to jump. I want it to, yeah. So when I start to zoom out here, I'm just going to try to transition that as best as I can. I might actually have to bring this up and then do a speed control on this as well. And then we can run this a color. Yeah, so I want to make sure I just have this whole motion here. Cut all of that out, bring this together. Yep, and then take this, Control G, add in a metastripic speed control, and we can control that all the way
and then we can
here,
run
so that it's a little bit more smooth, so that the screen doesn't just cut to random
and then
stuff.
we can run this through a color ramp. And already, ta-da, but just to make sure these are pure white, we can grab that white and just pull it.
Got three of you, four of you hanging on
with this color.
We're almost there.
This color. And what that does is gives us 6 to 7 different colors that we can choose from. Now, and what that does is it gives us a whole with this. And what that does,
good, cut out all that.
Color. And what that does is it gives us a whole spectrum of colors that we can choose from here. So roughly 6, 7, maybe 8 colors that you can use.
6, 7, 8 colors that you can use.
8 colors that
this
you
is
can
actually
use
really
in one.
This is actually a really cool method
on
to
a
this.
view layer, and then if you wanted even more, you can make another view layer, just like we did here, with another hue correct with all the same different spectrum of colors. So you have many, many ways to isolate these circles in the compositing, and then you can isolate these circles in the compositing, and then you can combine them all together. And then you can combine them all together with different in-paint nodes, with different translates, move them around. You can animate them into making a whole ensemble mask technique of making a whole ensemble of.
We're almost there. We're getting there.
Of mask techniques that will give you, that will remove all of those markers. Techniques that will give you, that will remove all of those.
Okay, here we go. Let's see, where do I want to cut?
Techniques that.
Oh, I can cut it right before I say that.
Techniques that will remove all. Mask techniques that will remove all of those markers, make it look like you never put them on your face in the first place.
Yay! Okay.
So I'm gonna plug. So I'm gonna plug on face in the first place. So I'm gonna plug this.
Okay, I'm just gonna extend this out a little bit here.
Your face in the first place.
Okay. Cut this to where I start to move my mouse.
So I'm going to plug this one into our mask like it needs to be, and then plug this back in and back in.
Right before the render goes through.
Again. And then come back to this back in. And then come back to our 690, F12, 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 690, F12, and there we go. We're back to what we had. We achieved the same result using just a slightly different technique here. Okay, so you have all the tools to isolating all the different technique here. Okay, so you have all the tools to piece together your own for your own footage. Like I said, I'll go ahead and finish isolating all the ones that I need to isolating. I'll continue to isolate different ones. Like I said, I'll go ahead and
I'll continue to isolate for your own footage. Like I said, own footage. Like I said, I'll continue to isolate different ones and using different techniques. Make sure we hide using different techniques to. That's where my phone started ringing. Make sure we hide all of these different techniques to, and then I'll have to re-record that. But that is the end, and you can see this video as I've cut it is 50 minutes long. I don't like that, so what I'm going to do, I think I can cut it kind of in the middle because I talk about kind of two different things. There's kind of well, I talk about like 4 different things, but there's a good cut I think somewhere in the middle. So I'll make those 2 different videos for my course, and then that way each of them are only going to be like 25 minutes long, which is a lot more palatable when you're consuming content and not necessarily wanting to sit through a whole 50-minute video. But yeah, so you can kind of see, here we go. We have all of these cuts. Look how many cuts this is. This was kind of an exception. Well, not kind of an exception, but what I'm saying is like I recorded probably 4 different sessions at different times. And there's a lot of cuts in here. There's a lot of cuts. But yeah, so that's how I finished this cut. What I think I'm going to do tomorrow, I might do another live stream. I'm going to end this live stream now, but I'm going to do tomorrow is continue where we left off, and I'll show you what I do as far as putting together the graphics and all of that stuff. I have kind of templates already set aside. So I'll show you some of that and where I go from here. But other than that, thanks for joining me. We almost made it to 2 hours, 2-hour live stream, which I wasn't expecting. But thanks for hanging out. And yeah, stay tuned for tomorrow. I'm going to try to do it tomorrow. I can't guarantee, but I'm going to try to do tomorrow or maybe in the next couple days. So thanks for hanging out with the random live stream, and I hope you all have a good night. And thanks for Elizabeth, good chat. And then also Srujan, thank you for your comment as well. And I hope everyone has a good night. All right, talk to you later.